Hello everyone and welcome to Jump Up Supercast. Is it the Jump Up Supercast? I don't remember. Anyway, welcome. The only podcast that doesn't remember how to open a podcast. I'm your host Muzzy, and joining me today is Brandon.
We're like 130 episodes in, and I can tell you that there is no the officially. It's Jump Up Supercast.
Do I say the? I feel like I usually say the Jump Up Supercast.
I don't think it really matters, but officially it's just Jump Up Supercast.
Okay.
Like, we had to trademark it, and then that's,
I see. We also have Ills.
Drop the it's just Facebook.
We got Saf.
You know, I don't blame you, mostly. Sometimes I get confused with Saf and the Saf. It's always just so hard to decide.
I forget what's what, yeah. And then we have a very special guest today. You may know him from a little thing called the Jump Up Supercast Game Club. It's Noah.
I'm gonna start a petition to add to Jump Up Supercast.
There we go. Yeah, I swear I usually. How does Will do it? I guess Will is the host normally.
I believe you guys just say "Welcome to the Jump Up Supercast." Like that's how
you always did say just "Welcome to the Jump Up Supercast."
Yeah. Welcome to Jump Up Supercast. Okay, well, I'll have to re-listen perhaps.
Well, I feel like saying is fine when you're saying it in the context of "Welcome to the Jump Up Supercast." You know?
Yeah.
But then it can also be listed as, "Hey, this is Jump Up Supercast." You know?
Right.
So I think it's fine either.
I don't know.
What week of the quarantine is this?
That's how you know we're in quarantine, because quite frankly, what else is there to talk about? No, we have things to talk about, believe it or not, we do. Things I'm actually looking forward to talk about. So, but how, we are, what is this, July, we're still in a COVID-19 world. we're definitely a little stir crazy, but we make do.
That's how you know we're in America. We're still in a COVID-19 world.
Yeah. What up. So, video games. There's some interesting stuff to talk about. And I want to start off with business. Let's get down to business, lads. Okay?
To defeat the Huns?
Yeah. So, Warner Brothers Interactive. You may know them. They are a publisher. They publish games like Mortal Kombat, Injustice, the Batman Arkham games. I can go on and on and on, right? They have a lot of rumored projects upcoming, right? Stuff we've talked about in this very podcast that we're like, where the fuck are these games? But, Rocksteady's next game, the next Batman game from WB Montreal, the Harry Potter game by Avalanche. They're a pretty notable publisher, I would say, right? Mm-hmm. If you don't know, they're currently owned by AT&T, and apparently AT&T is looking to sell off their video game publishing arm, Warner Brothers Interactive. Now this is notable because we have a list. We have a list of publishers who are interested in purchasing WB. And just in general, a major publisher like this going for sale, that's big news, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't happen often. Like, when was the last time we saw a publisher of this scale? Atlas a couple years back, and even Atlas is much smaller than what WB is. But so we have a list of publishers who are interested, and that is Activision, Electronic Arts, Take-Two, and Microsoft. One of these is not like the other. Should
we rank them from best to worst?
We can if you want. We do love ranking things on this podcast.
We do.
Let's do it. Let's rank them. Who would you guys like to see least purchase Warner Brothers?
Yeah.
Instant answer.
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
Going straight to hell.
So, and I do want to talk about why each of these publishers would be interested in WB, right? But so EA is interesting because EA right now, we can say their output outside of sports and Star Wars fairly limited, right? Yeah. They're not putting out many games. They closed a lot of studios, right? But I think that they desperately want, and I think all of these publishers just want to put out a lot more content than they're currently putting out, and I think EA is definitely feeling like we need to be putting out more than we are right now. And having WB, getting access to all those licenses, getting access to Mortal Kombat, I think is a big deal for all these guys, right? But yeah, EA, I think it's fair to say, bottom of the list.
Yeah.
They have a record for shutting down studios, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
They buy
They
them,
also have
use
a-
them, find barely any success, and then shut them down. Quite sad.
The Grim
Yeah.
Reaper of IPs.
Yeah, fucking Dead Space. Was it Visceral Studios that made Dead Space?
Yeah, both
Yeah.
that, but yeah, I think that's a good point too. It's not just the studios, right, but it's also the IPs, right? The IPs go dormant and they shut down the studios, and they've done this over and over and over and over
Yeah.
again, right? It's a ridiculous record now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say EA is at the bottom then. Now, who's the next least bad option?
Activision. I think?
Activision? Yeah, I was about to say Activision.
I guess next worst. I said least
Next-
bad, but no. Yeah,
Next worst, I would probably
Next
say
worst.
Activision.
Activision. And why Activision?
They just, they've had a reputation, obviously, with, they own Blizzard, right? And
Yeah.
there's been a lot of stuff going on there with Diablo and World of Warcraft and things that aren't favorable in their,
Mhm.
don't look good on their end.
They recently had a big breakup with Destiny, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I just think Activision is probably the next worst. They're not
I mean,
really in
and-
a great public light right now.
And speaking of Destiny, I'm gonna guess that's partially why they're so interested, right? Because I think desperately losing Destiny was a big blow to them, I think.
Mhm.
Right? That is, I mean, Activision doesn't have many big cash cows. They normally, at a time, there was a point where they were simultaneously putting out Call of Duty, Skylanders, some other stuff I cannot remember. But like Destiny, duh, right? And then like one more thing, and like they had all these things, and right now all they kind of have is Call of Duty, and then like Crash. And that's it right now, right? They don't have much. And so, they could use more. Granted, I don't know if I would want WB into the hands of Activision, but I can see why Activision's interested, right?
Right, I can
Yeah.
see why they would be. I mean, I can see why all four of these.
Yeah. I mean, those, I should mention, though, the licenses, WB's main output is license games, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it's not a guarantee that whoever gets a hold of WB Interactive gets the licenses. I think the rumors are saying that they want to give them at least a somewhat favorable licensing deal to whoever decides to buy them out. But those things aren't permanent, right? You don't get permanent access to these things.
They
You
get
don't
the
have
development
ownership over
studios
these things.
that are under the publishers.
They do get so the bulk of this, you get all the development studios that are under WB Interactive, and it's actually a decent amount. You have
like
Rocksteady,
Rocksteady and WB Montreal and stuff.
you get
Yeah.
NetherRealm, you get Avalanche. They own quite a bit of studios actually, but in terms of IP that you would actually own after Mortal Kombat, it's not much. I just should be told. There's there's. I don't even remember, to be honest, like what other things they own, but it's a much smaller scale, right? Yeah. I mean, Activision, it's kind of scummy, right? They are known to rush their games, right? They rush their developers. They, I probably don't want them. Who's next on the list?
Take Two.
What was it? Microsoft, Ubisoft, and who else left?
So the only people left are Microsoft and Take-Two.
Yeah, Take Two would be nice.
Wait,
Oh.
is it Blizzard looking
I mean,
to
I guess
buy
Take
it?
Two.
Or
Blizzard is part of Activision.
Yeah.
never mind it. Yeah, I guess
So-
Take Two.
Yeah, Take-Two is funny to me because I think Take-Two is secretly one of the scummiest publishers out there.
They keep it on the DL.
They keep it, because it's limited to sports games like 2K, right? People don't care as much, right?
Right.
Same thing for, EA gets a lot of hate for their microtransactions, but 2K is just as bad,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And, I don't know if you guys talked about it in the podcast last week, but 2K21 is going to be $70 on next gen.
Yes, we did talk about
We
this.
definitely did.
Yeah. And, 2K, they're a pretty scummy publisher. But funnily, I do think they will have the most synergy with WB. I feel like a lot of their output makes sense for WB, right?
Like,
I feel like they just I mean, like, with Take-Two, WB's output makes sense for Take-Two, I mean. I just think that...
But
like,
why do you feel that way is what I'm asking.
Oh, because, I mean, first of all, like, I think that they... Like, Take-Two already had... Because unlike those other publishers, they don't just rely on one thing, right? They have all sorts of things. They have Borderlands. They have Rockstar under their belt, you know.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto and stuff.
You know.
Yeah.
And so they just have a lot more under their belt. And also, I just think the general game type, it seems like things that Take-Two would publish. I don't know, just to me. At least, like, aesthetically, I guess. Like, just fits with their portfolio, I feel, you know. And WB is no stranger to just all sorts of microtransactions in their games, you know. So, you know, in a lot of ways, they're a perfect match for each other. But and then I guess so. We have settled on Microsoft being the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Because they've acquired like other companies before, and they seem to do a decent job at it already. So
I do think we should mention some negatives though, because I don't want to come off as just completely like we love Microsoft.
Sure,
right?
yeah. I mean, of course. I feel like there's negatives for all of these, obviously.
And honestly, I do think also the other part of this I think should be noted. I feel like no matter what, corporate consolidation is probably a bad thing. Right? So I don't know if this is a good thing that they're even for sale, WB Interactive, you know? But if they had to be purchased, I would say Microsoft is the best of these choices. But I want to, before we talk about why they could potentially be a good fit, I think some bad things should be noted. Number one, this would lock a lot of their games off PlayStation, right?
Yeah, I'm like Mortal Kombat.
So we've seen Microsoft be open to multi-platform games, right? And PC, they're completely, like, everything they do is on PC, right?
yeah.
And Minecraft is available even on PlayStation and Switch.
Yeah, but even with like games like indie games like fucking Cuphead, that was supposed to be a Microsoft exclusive and eventually came to Switch, so it's like they seem to be pretty loose with those kind of things now.
Right.
Well,
but I do...
PlayStation.
I feel like...
no, yeah, with PlayStation.
I feel like Mortal Kombat would be completely locked off PlayStation for sure, though. Right?
But
and that's a big blow
that might not be Microsoft's fault, though. That might be PlayStation's as well, because they just don't have a good relationship with them or something.
Well, no. Well, this would only happen if Microsoft bought WB, right?
Right.
And so, like, it would suck for PlayStation gamers because so many of them have, Mortal Kombat has had a long history on that platform, right? And so it would just really suck and then even stuff like, I'm curious because would those licensed games also be exclusive? Like, would Batman now be exclusive to?
I mean, I feel
that's
like
a good point.
I mean, I feel like if anything, Microsoft would want that to happen so that it would be like seen as
a counter to Spider-Man.
I mean, it depends upon the contract for the licenses, though, right? Like,
It
the whole
definitely
purpose
does.
of the license being made to them is like the people who license them out expect those games to be out on certain platforms.
They want to, yeah. And so I wonder, I mean, Mortal Kombat would just be there. Microsoft would own it, so they could do whatever they want.
IP, yeah.
Yeah. But I wonder if, like, would they be stipulated, like, hey, if you want to make a Batman game, you have to put it on PlayStation?
Yeah.
Like, and then even stuff like Lego. Don't forget, WB owns Lego. I imagine Lego has to stay multi-platform, the same way Minecraft is, right? You gotta release Lego on everything. Come on. It's a kid's game that, like, needs to be on as big of an install base as possible. But the other question mark I have for Microsoft purchasing this, I think what Microsoft has absolutely no use for WB's publishing arm, right? Like, they'll have a lot of use for the studios.
For the studios, yeah.
But WB employs a lot of people. And this might be the case, honestly, for all four of them, though, right? But, like, a lot of those jobs may be redundant in terms of, like, the publishing jobs.
Well, yeah,
right?
because it would be a publisher purchasing another publisher. So what would they need the publishing end for?
And so it just feels like that's just a lot of jobs just gone.
Yeah.
Which is,
why do you hate the free market so much?
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a weird one. But I do think, let's talk about the positives, though, potentially Microsoft. I think they have a good history so far with studio acquisitions, right?
Yeah, specifically recently. I mean, obviously, you look at one bad example and you look at Rare, but even that they've turned around.
But even Rare is on an arc to, like, in recent years, it seems to be. I mean, Sea of Thieves is a great game and has had great success, right?
Eventually.
And
Took them a little
Huh?
bit,
It took him a little bit.
It took a little bit, but like I think in the modern era of Microsoft, which is who would be publishing WB,
Yeah.
right?
they're
I think
doing a
that-
good job. Yeah.
I mean, GameIndustry.biz just put out these articles about like Microsoft, Xbox Game Studios as a whole, right? And how, and these studios, they're talking about how, being under Xbox Game Studios, we're basically able to operate with complete creative freedom, which is crazy to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome too. That's very
Yeah,
cool.
like, and they were talking, and this could just be like a little fluff PR piece, I don't know. But like you have these people from these studios, you have people from Double Fine, from Obsidian, from In Exile, Ninja Theory, and they're all out there saying like, hey, like this is completely different from any experience we've had with publishers before, right? We basically get to act as if we were independent, and they're letting us come up with our own ideas, no matter how small or how big or whatever we want to do. We just kind of have the freedom to do whatever.
That's the dream, right? That's
Yeah.
what any developer wants.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like, in terms of the studio's health, I feel like Microsoft is actually maybe, like, one of the best places to be right now, right? Being under that Xbox
The complete
Game Studios
opposite of
umbrella.
EA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas EA, you're totally fearful for if I will have a place to work at the next day, right?
Yeah. And even if we have ideas, the higher ups will be like, yeah, no, you're going to make what we tell you.
You got to make a Star Wars game, baby.
Yeah.
Right? And even those WB studios right now, I imagine a lot of those, I don't know if all of those studios want to make licensed games.
Right. Does Rocksteady want to continue to keep making Batman games? Like, maybe
Like,
they do.
does Rocksteady want to make a games as a service Suicide Squad game? Maybe they do. I don't know. But it's unlike anything they've ever had. That games as a service Suicide Squad game sounds like something that was driven by executives. You know what I mean?
That doesn't sound like a good idea.
Yeah.
And so I just letting these studios be able to thrive creatively could be interesting in a result, right? And I think that'd be a pretty cool thing. Which is why I still think the ideal scenario is AT&T just doesn't sell and lets them like continue as is, right?
Sure.
Right.
But if they are to be sold, let's hope it's Microsoft. Is the lesson of this little.
Unless you're a Sony pony.
Speaking of Xbox. We finally have a date, lads. It is here. July 23rd is the Xbox Games Showcase.
Ooh.
We had a little Inside Xbox that was, let's be honest, pretty shit. But they
I don't
were
know if
clear
I'd
that
call it
was...
shit. I would call
But
it underwhelming.
it was, okay, underwhelming. But it wasn't great. It was not well received. But they were clear that was just a teaser. This is the real thing, right? This is where they have to impress. Especially because now we are coming after the Sony conference or event presentation, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
last month, right?
Mm.
I think now the expectation has been set. This is what a next-gen game showcase looks like. Now Microsoft has something to directly answer to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So wait, did they give a price point for the PS5 that's coming out?
Not yet. We don't have price point.
So we might not get a new.
I would not expect there, especially because the name of the thing is the Xbox Games Showcase. I would not expect hardware details. I would not expect price. I think this thing is just like the PlayStation conference is going to be games, and games. You know?
Yeah, they're probably going to keep them shut until like the last second so they can try to beat or compete with Sony's PlayStation 5 price before they announce it.
We're in unprecedented times when it comes to price because this time last gen, a month ago last gen, we knew the price and dates for these things. And this time, it doesn't seem like we're going to see them anytime soon. August at the earliest.
Yeah, it's not a good sign for
Yeah,
consumers.
they're going to be
at
probably
least.
pretty pricey. But I want to talk about the showcase for a quick second. What do you guys expect out of this? What do you think they need out of this? And maybe some personal desires.
Games.
Well, yeah, games, right? Just like the name implies, this thing should probably, just like the PlayStation Showcase, I think it needs to nail the pacing and needs to just be game after game after game, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. And it has to be real gameplay. I think that was one of the biggest downfallings of that. And there's some lessons you can learn from not just from the PS5 conference, but the Inside Xbox, right? Don't do too many CG reveals. Don't do too many logo reveals. Just as much as humanly possible, I think people want to see gameplay reveals. You know? What can truly be done on a next generation system needs to be shown here, you know?
Mm-hmm. And then I think if you are going to drop like a logo or a quick CG reveal, it needs to be a big name, you know?
Yeah.
One that'll get people talking, you know? So, like,
but I think even a big name, I do think a CG is fine to an extent, but like, first of all, it has to be in the minority, right? Most of these things need to show gameplay, right?
But the few things, like if you're gonna have one,
yeah,
make it.
You can have, but that CG thing I think does need to still give us a good idea of what the game is too, though. You know, like if you're thinking of Fable, right? Let's say they're rebooting Fable. I don't think just giving us a Fable logo is good enough. I think we need a good idea of what they're going for with this new Fable game. You know.
And I really hope there is a Fable, because I like Fable a lot.
And those are the rumors. We'll see. Who knows? But
I mean, they've been
not rumors, I guess, but murmurs.
They've been heavily teasing like Halo Infinite, haven't they?
Yes. This is their premiere launch game. Do you guys have any expectations for Halo in particular?
Oh man,
I just play as Master Chief.
Some honest ass fucking gameplay. That's all I want.
I want it to be good. I really do. I'm afraid.
Do you,
I'm afraid.
Do you expect it to be good?
Of course I want it to be good. You know, I like Halo a lot. And, like, do I expect it to be good? I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I just...
Yeah.
Was Halo 5 good?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay. Because I stopped at 4 and
I don't think it was bad. I just don't
It wasn't bad, and people say the multiplayer is actually pretty good, but the campaign is generally not well received.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten around to playing it, but yeah, I don't know.
I think, well, for one, I think Halo needs to open the show. I don't want to wait for Halo, because that's the one game we know for sure, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it would be so stupid for the one game we know about, we have to wait the whole presentation to see. No, just get that out of the way, you know?
Yeah.
Get it out of the way to the...
Grand Theft Auto 5 reveal.
Yeah.
Then Halo.
Yeah. Grand Theft Auto specifically with Xbox One footage, right? With an Xbox One logo. And then...
Yeah.
And then try it. No, but I really do think Halo needs to open. I really don't want to wait for that game. You know, I don't want to, and I think this was one of the most annoying parts of that Inside Xbox. Throughout that show, you would see, coming soon, stay tuned, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, stay tuned, coming up, all this, and it just kept telling us that Assassin's Creed Valhalla is going to show up eventually. That was the one thing we knew about going in. Why would you, why? Just, if that's the one thing we know about going in, show it out the gate and show a shit ton of gameplay, because that's your launch game, right? This is the game that they are tying the launch of this system to.
Yeah, it's going to be the system seller, so
they need to show a beefy demo, you know?
I mean, it's, I won't say it's do or die because it's Microsoft and they have all the money in the world, right? But
yeah,
they got to do something.
Yeah,
because they're already, so far behind. Sure, they've made, good, a lot of good PR moves, and with Game Pass are looking good in, purchasing all these studios, but they need something to show for it. And that is video games. We need games. And everybody says, what's the point of owning an Xbox? There's no games, there's no exclusives. That's the thing. They need it, right? They need those exclusives. They need a reason to buy an Xbox. And PC people, of course, are going to step in and say, "Oh, I can just play them on PC." Besides those people,
they're always going to say that.
They're always going to say that forever now.
I think there's value to console exclusives, right? And even if it's also on PC. But and I think on that note, I think more than anything, what I want from this show, I want to see that these acquisitions were not just all talk. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want to see real games from Ninja Theory, from In Exile, from Obsidian. Not necessarily all 15 fucking studios that they own now, right?
Yeah, but they've owned them for long enough that they gotta have something in the
we gotta see results,
show, right?
I think it's about time we see some real results from these studios. Not just in the form of I think they have to prove Xbox Game Studios is not just a Halo Forza Gears machine, you know?
Yeah, because this gen, that's all they have been.
That was basically, outside of Sea of Thieves, the only things they did of note this gen were Halo Forza Gears, right?
Well, Ori and Cuphead, but...
Ori.
Yeah, well, Cuphead's not first party, but even that is much smaller. I'm talking about like the big games though that like define the Xbox, right?
Yes.
I think they have to show more than that. I think they cannot just rely on those 3 franchises.
That's all they've had this gen, and like they skipped out on like Fable skipped an entire generation of consoles, you know.
Yeah.
And so did like every single Rare IP that Rare had.
Yeah, basically.
You know?
Yeah.
They made Sea of Thieves. That's like the only game they made this generation, and so like
Viva Pinata coming back.
There's a lot of IPs that Microsoft owns that they just that completely missed the generation. And
I mean, I definitely would like to see. Speaking of Rare, I would like to see some classic Rare IPs revived. Right?
Absolutely. Even if another studio outside of Rare's make develop.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be Rare because like Rare, they straight up said like Rare is a new IP factory now. That's fine. I think Rare can do that, but
we know Battletoads. Battletoads is a thing, but I mean
Battletoads. But like I want to see Series X Rare revivals. I think Rare has this just like such a long treasured history, and they have so many IPs that there's so much to pull from, you know. And I also want to see new IPs. You know, I want to see new first party IPs.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Well, Brandon said like a few minutes ago that Xbox is so far behind. Do we really think Xbox is so far behind right now?
Yes, in terms of pure console sales, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not talking about the past. I'm talking about the future. Like for
but I mean, but like I think it's fair to say they are starting in a position where PlayStation is ahead, right? PlayStation just naturally right now is ahead. And you see it not just in game sales, but even like, not even like over the last couple years, but like right now as we speak, you look on social media, PS5 is getting so much hype, so much excitement. Every piece of media they put out for the PS5 gets so many social media shares, get so many views, all that. There's palpable excitement for the PS5. I don't know if we can say that for the Xbox just yet. And you could chalk it up to, we haven't gotten the real reveal yet of like what's coming. But I do think it's fair to say PS5 is ahead right now.
Somebody pointed out that the new, because we just found out what the PS5 boxes are going to look like, right?
Yeah.
With the Spider-Man Miles Morales. And Sony tweeted that out, right? There's the official tweet of Sony saying, hey, here's what the box art's going to look like. That tweet has more retweets and likes than Xbox announcement of their new console reveal. Or not their console reveal, but this game reveal that we're talking about right now.
Just the fucking
box art alone.
The box art.
Has more hype than Xbox being like, these are all the games we're going to show.
And I think that's a really good way to understate just like, man, PlayStation... I mean, we have to be honest. Like they just have a level of dominance right now, you know.
Yeah.
So
public opinion.
So I do think it is fair to characterize this as Xbox needs to catch up. I do think they're behind, you know. And like we could say they're pulling all the right moves, and I agree, right? Like I think they're doing a lot of great stuff with Game Pass, with backwards compatibility, with smart delivery. All these programs that they're doing are so consumer focused, and like, which is why we praise them so much on this podcast, right? But the two biggest things I guess that they are missing right now is they still need to prove, as much as we believe in the promise of their first party, and I genuinely do, we need to see the results of that. We need to have tangible proof that they are a real first party force to be reckoned with, right?
Yeah.
As a software publisher. And we need to see that they are actually worth competing with the PS5. Because right now, I just think all the excitement is on PS5. That's just how I perceive it right now. But anyway.
I don't know, maybe because I don't really do Twitter and stuff like that. So I don't really focus on what people are saying. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. Like you can say, like, you know, like you're disconnected, and to you, like, Xbox doesn't seem like it's far behind. But I think it's also fair to say, like, objectively, more people right now are excited for the PS5, though, right? And I don't think that has to be like I don't think that's necessarily set in stone that PS5 will dominate, right? I think they could catch up, but they have to.
Sure. I mean, look.
They have to show that, though.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's never set in stone because
Yeah.
PS3, PlayStation was, I mean, even more on top of the world than anything after the PS2, right? The highest selling console of all time, like, and the PS1 also killed it, right? But then the PS3, they fucking fucked up.
They stumbled.
So
Why-
it's not impossible.
Well, I think
But-
the pervasiveness of social media since then has kind of cemented the notion that PlayStation is kind of untouchable at this point.
Maybe. I mean, and like I do think, like, PS5, for as much as guff as we can give them, we have to give credit where credit due is, right? They're not really messing up.
Oh, they're not
anyway,
messing up
right?
at all. I mean,
They're
they're not.
they're
I don't think they're hitting every single expectation, but they're in a very good spot right now.
yeah, for sure. I would like to see both of them do really well, because I think when both of them are doing really well, it kind of forces each other to
Competition is always good for the consumer.
yeah. In terms of, I mean, that's the only reason why Xbox is doing all these consumer friendly things, right? Is because
I mean, because they fucked up at the
they
beginning.
got the shit beat out of them last gen, this gen.
Yeah,
so, like,
the beginning of this gen, they fucked up,
Yeah.
and now they're doing all these great things that, like, me as a consumer, I'm like, oh hell yeah, Game Pass and like smart delivery and this, like, I'm making out like a bandit here. But it's all because, you know, they messed up, and now if they didn't have competition, they wouldn't be doing all this stuff. So it is good. I hope they both do good.
yeah. Any last thoughts on Xbox event before we move on?
No.
Nope.
Okay. So, one last little piece of news we got. Or actually, no, we have two more pieces of news. So, Far Cry 5 leaked. I don't want to talk about it too much because we have a Ubisoft event coming
6.
this... Oh, sorry, Far Cry 6, my bad. Yeah, Far Cry 6 got leaked. Coming out in February. We'll talk about it in more detail when the Ubisoft Forward event happens this Sunday. So we'll... I guess it'll already have happened when this podcast goes up, but we'll be talking about it next week because we record on Thursdays. Spoilers. I guess
Thursdays
Thursday,
or Fridays.
Thursday or Friday, yeah. But there's a bit of a delay between when we record. Unfortunately, Sunday's the worst possible time for a event to happen for us to be able to talk about it.
Yeah,
right?
it's going to happen, and then we're not going to actually cover it on the internet until a week later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know. So we're saying, right now I'm saying Far Cry 6 has been leaked. By the time you hear this, Far Cry 6 has been announced. Amongst who knows what else.
It got leaked on the PlayStation Network. Didn't this happen again with another game recently, too, or PSN accidentally showed it on their store?
Yeah, it was the Star Wars game.
Yeah.
What I forgot.
What the fuck?
Squadrons? Yeah. PSN, man, they gotta get their shit together.
Yeah.
Though it wouldn't be. I feel like Ubisoft games just have a curse.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Ubisoft games just. When was the last time a Ubisoft game actually was announced without getting leaked beforehand? I don't even know. You know,
Probably a game that nobody cared about.
yeah, or at least a high-profile Ubisoft game. You know, it's just
It was like
it's just
Last
not
Dance
possible.
or Just Dance. But
Just
like,
Dance.
Everybody
Oh, yeah,
knew it was
yeah.
coming anyway.
And then they also announced like a free-to-play battle royale called Hyperscape. Again, you'll probably know more than we do. So, well, we'll talk about it next Monday. Look forward to it. Finally, today, the day of this recording, Friday, Nintendo did a stream, a Treehouse live stream, where they told us going in that this was going to be, we're going to show a little bit of Paper Mario the Origami King, which is coming out next week. And then we have a surprise game reveal from WayForward in a franchise that they've never touched before. I don't remember the exact way in that tweet, but something akin to that, right?
I mean, yeah, it was very ominous. And,
Yeah.
and then they didn't.
Well, yeah,
discount
before
at
you get to the
same
clarification,
time.
yeah. Well, so naturally, before they clarified anything, this speculation went amok with this WayForward game, right? Like, what is it gonna be? Is it a Nintendo game? Nintendo announced it, and it's on Treehouse. If it's on Treehouse, it has to be a Nintendo game, right? Because this is the why else would they just attach this to Paper Mario? Then an hour and a half later, they tweeted, "Hey guys, it's not first party, it's a third party game. Okay, chill." Right? But even with that, people still were like, okay, we can cross out Metroid, we can cross out Wario Land. What else did I see thrown out a lot? I feel like there's another.
I don't know.
Zelda 2 remake I saw thrown around a lot.
Ice Climbers.
Okay. Yeah, we can cross all those out. Okay, now what else could it be? Oh, maybe it's Castlevania. Maybe it's maybe it's a Sega thing. Maybe who knows? It's an IP that they haven't touched before. It could be anything. Well, it was true. It was an IP that they haven't touched before. And before we get to what the game is, even before like what specific, I feel like Way Forward, you have something specific in mind, right? Not IP wise, but like when you think of a Way Forward game, tell me what you think of.
Shantae,
and then the second after Shantae, licensed games.
But like
DuckTales.
2D pixel
platform.
art. Right?
Yeah, 2D platformers, like hand-drawn, mostly
hand-drawn or pixel art, one of those, right? Stuff like that, right? No. We got Bakugan, which is, and it's a 3D, like, adventure game, right? So 3D models and all. This is not a pixel art game, this is not a hand-drawn game, this is just straight up just 3D models. And it's Bakugan, which is I don't even know how to describe Bakugan. Like, it started as an anime.
It's
right?
It came around shortly after Yu-Gi-Oh. I think
it's like right after Yu-Gi-Oh.
It was an anime
era
that got popular in the West, more popular than the Japanese. Sorry, more popular in the West than it became in Japan. And
but even at its peak, was not that big, right?
Not very.
It was that big, but it was the.
It's still pretty notable, I guess, in the age range that I would say came directly after me. I guess.
Yeah. I remember there was a card game. I think maybe was there a card game?
So I mean,
it started off as like a card game.
Is it a card game? I don't know what kind of game Bakugan.
I think it was a card game, but you have these little like capsule, like little circles, and like you roll them out, and they like they pop open, and there's like monsters. Yeah. I don't know. It was past.
I mean, it's mostly I feel like more than anything it was a toy franchise, right?
Yeah. Sure, and it was an
anyway,
like you said, and it was probably.
But like it was anime and toys is what Bakugan was known for, like in the late 2000s, right?
Sure.
And for whatever fucking reason, Way Forward is just making this game. It's published by WB, like we talked about earlier.
What the fuck, though?
What? Why? How? And first of all, why did they hype this up?
I don't know. And like I know that like them just tweeting it and then just saying, "Hey, there's an announcement," and
like they
necessarily like hyping it up, but also. It is in the same time because you're not telling us what it is. So just that mystery there already like makes it seem like it's should be bigger than it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
like
you were playing it as a surprise, right?
Yes,
you purposely didn't say what it was. And I think let's talk about you're doing a Treehouse Live for Paper Mario. Why attach this game to that?
They had to be paid, right? They had
Reggie's fault.
I think like if I had to guess, and this is just totally out of my ass here, I'm gonna guess that they had a deal with Warner Brothers to market this game at E3, right?
Mm-hmm.
E3 obviously did not happen, and so they decided to attach it to this Paper Mario Treehouse Live stream.
Oh, Lordy.
Bizarre.
But, but even then, like, was part of the deal you have to keep it a fucking secret? Because
I mean, like, to be fair, to their credit here, we hate them for this, and it's getting so much negative reception. But also, they had 150,000 eyes on it on the stream.
That 150,000 probably dropped to about 70,000 real quick as soon as.
I mean, yes, probably, but they were able to get 150,000 eyes on fucking Bakugan, right?
God,
and it got social media buzz. I can't say it didn't work. I don't know if it'll translate into anything, right? But it got buzz. People are we would have never talked about this game otherwise, right?
guess.
I still don't want to talk about it. But
I mean,
We're not saying a lot of good things about it.
We're not. But
I have no idea what a Bakugan is. And
so, like, I mean, it
refuse to
looks
find
like
out.
it looks like a fairly generic, like kids RPG, JRPG, if that makes sense, right? It aesthetically reminds me a lot of like Yokai Watch,
Yeah,
right?
Pokemon a little bit.
Little going for a bit of Pokemon, yeah. It's I don't know. It's just baffling that they did this.
Right.
I mean,
And like I think it's notable. Hey, in 7 days, Paper Mario's coming out. We don't have a single dated release from Nintendo for the rest of the year.
Right. And I think that's, contributes to people getting excited about when they said, hey, like we have like a new secret little game coming out. Like people are going to think, well, they got nothing after Paper Mario. It's got to be something from them, right? But, so you can't really... I for me at least, I don't really blame people.
I get why people are angry. I get why people are annoyed.
I get it too. Obviously, you don't want to like say this ruined my day. Fuck you. No,
Yeah.
come on, bro. Come on, just buy it.
Get some perspective.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But I
why
can see
you'd
why
be
people were
excited.
irritated. I mean, personally, my reaction was laughter.
Yeah, you can't help but laugh because it's so ridiculous. Because you expected something, not that. You didn't expect Bakugan. I can tell. Nobody expected Bakugan.
Nobody looked at Bakugan. It's been a while since I think Nintendo's really just baited people like this. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like this used to happen a lot in the Wii U era.
It just seems a little tone deaf to me.
Yeah. I mean, and that is to say, I do hope... There's rumors, there's murmurs of like a Nintendo Direct, like the week of July 20th. I hope that pans out, because like we don't know anything right now. After Paper Mario comes out, Nintendo doesn't have any releases coming.
Yeah, we're in the fucking we're in the dead zone. We got nothing.
I mean,
we're wild times right now, right? Like Paper Mario was announced like 7 weeks before it came out, right?
Yeah.
And so that is to say, even though we're in July, who knows how many games are left? Because Nintendo could just announce a game a couple weeks before, right? And we're just in weird times right now.
Yeah.
But as a fan, I would like if we could get that 2020 slate filled out a little bit more,
Yeah, because people.
maybe things were planned, but because of the whole COVID thing.
Yeah, I mean, like
sure.
COVID, it's understandable to an extent, but it's also like, man, come on.
Because we would have had E3.
We would have had E3 by now.
And all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Well, part of
It's a weird situation.
my slight
know?
deflation with this announcement was that I kind of like WayForward generally. I mean, they seem to put out good shit, and
That too.
Yeah.
this is not something I want from them. Like,
Right.
No,
this didn't even look
like,
that interesting
Anything
gameplay-wise. Like,
I mean, it's also nothing like that you come to a WayForward game for, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't come to WayForward for like a Pokemon knockoff.
Usually
like,
it's
even
like a Metroidvania or a beat 'em up or just some sort of usually like you
something
said,
that's at least visually interesting,
that too,
right?
Because usually their games have like a flair to them,
Yeah, and this is
Double Dragon Neo or even Shantae or
River City
I mean,
Girls.
River City Girls is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And like, even if I don't think that all of their classic revivals have been hits,
they
right?
haven't.
Still, at its core, just a franchise like River City getting revived at its core is just interesting, right? Bakugan, this isn't even interesting.
And that game's fucking awesome, by the way.
Like, this is something that we're gonna like talk about and laugh about today, and otherwise we're gonna forget Bakugan ever exists.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? Like, honestly, it just
Yeah, who is this for? It was one of the things.
Who is this for? The funniest thing is on Twitter, WayForward right before this announced a much more interesting game where they said, "Hey, we're not done with River City Girls. We're gonna do another one."
Yep.
Yeah.
They just threw that on Twitter, and that throwaway Twitter announcement is far more interesting than Bakugan.
Yeah, definitely.
They
They had
probably-
actually way more interesting things to say because they're like porting, like they made some like limited run games deal with like the Shantae games, and they're making the original Game Boy Color game available on Game Boy Color.
Yeah,
cards
Shantae's
again.
getting ported to modern consoles for the first time.
It's being ported.
That's-
It's also getting a re-release on actual fucking Game Boy Color cards. Like that's like some really cool news. It's much cooler than this.
Is it being remade or just ported?
Just ported.
Just straight
It's ported.
Sad.
But still, hey, like that is more interesting than this.
It's an incredibly rare Game Boy Color game that a lot of people didn't have a chance to play, and if I know emulation is a thing, but if you don't want to do that, there's going to be a way to play it now finally. So,
and we have a Game Club episode for it.
Yay!
We do. Go listen
Check
to
it out. Okay, well,
Synergy.
that is enough.
Get ready,
enough of the
Muzz.
news. Enough of Bakugan. Enough of all that. We gotta wrap this thing up. So we're gonna end the podcast the way we always do with the list.
The list!
You want to follow us along in the Pastebin link in the description below. You're going to definitely want to follow along because in the list, we add a new game every week, and we rank it against every other game that we've added before. So following along, very handy for this segment.
Sorry, I thought you said wank it for a second. Instead of rank.
No.
Sometimes we do.
Yeah.
No, I said rank it, but I guess sometimes we do also wank it. Last week, Will got to add to the list, and he added Hyrule Warriors, which got to number 125. This week, because Noah's hardly ever on, anytime we have the pleasure of having him, we like to give him the pick. So, Noah, take it away.
Alrighty, so I want to add actually, it kind of feels like it's long due. Not really a Game Club game, but something we all played at the same time.
Oh no!
So don't worry, I'm not gonna do something bad. I want to add Dragon Marked for Death to the list.
Ooh. So okay. Just to be clear, me and Brandon did play this, but I didn't play much. I'm gonna be honest, it was my fault. That's just how it is.
I'm glad you took that hit. I appreciate that.
Look, I know how I am.
You know who
and
you
I know
are,
it's my fault. I know who I am. Exactly.
At least
exactly.
me, Ills, and Saf, we played it and beat it, and it was an experience for sure. It was a pretty fun game. It was like a 2D side scroller action, not RPG. Well, kind of RPG elements. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And this really nice art style.
Made by Indie Creates, should mention, in the style of Gunvolt.
Oh yeah,
And it definitely looks like it. It looks a lot like Gunvolt.
And you get to choose basically from 4 classes. I'm not sure if they added any new ones.
They
recently.
have.
Okay.
Yeah.
But basically, you had like the warrior, the sorceress, the ninja,
Assassin? Or
yeah.
ninja? I'm not sure.
It was more like an aerial, high mobility fighter.
That was my character.
Yeah. And Saf had the dragon lady.
So
had
there
fire
was the
moves.
Empress, Warrior, Shinobi, and the Witch.
There
Those
you
were
go,
the
yeah.
4 main ones.
Yeah. I was a support, the witch.
And just as a heads up, we played the launch version. There's been a lot of updates since then.
Oh, maybe we should go back to revisit it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if I should rank it now if it's been updated.
The
All right,
launch
so
version.
we'll just put an asterisk on it. Yeah,
So those are all the classes. Noah, what was it like actually playing the game?
it has a lot of missions. We did play for like a good amount of hours to beat it. It was a little grindy. After a certain point, it did get a little grindy for us.
Definitely.
Especially trying to beat the final boss. That was insanity.
A real piece of shit.
Yeah. But in general, like the combat mechanics was really interesting. You have like obviously it's like real time, so you're swinging, you're jumping, you're swinging. Casting spells is all real time. It's hard to like. What do we compare it to?
I don't know. Oh, well, on the list?
In general, like just to give give a better picture, because I'm bad at describing. Well, basically, you accept missions in the main town, which is the main hub. You go on this. There's like a set amount of stages. Like there's like the forest, mushroom, poison area, swamp place.
Themes.
Yeah, it's like a general outfieldy like forest theme, and then there's like a dungeon that's like inside of a pyramid.
So I would describe the game to be very much like Mega Man Zero, but if Mega Man Zero was an RPG, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Like it is very like RPG-esque because there's a mission select, but in between missions you go into this town hub, and that's where you accept the missions, you talk to NPCs, all that jazz, right?
Yeah.
But to be honest, I think this is where the game really falters. I don't really care for any of this RPG elements in this game. The town stuff just seemed kind of boring. I don't know. I wasn't really enthused by any of this aspect of the game.
Well, one of my problems with the game was that the town stuff and all the inventory stuff, that was all kind of boring. That
Yeah,
wasn't
like
well
it felt more like a missed opportunity more than anything. Like it sounded on paper like these were cool things to do. It was like, oh, you can get this item that would work like really well with your class or something. And it's just like it's kind of underwhelming when you actually get it and equip it.
Yeah.
But even besides the RPG stuff, I kind of felt like the gameplay itself was a little lacking, to be honest with you. Like, I just... Like, this was made by Inti Creates, right? And you compare this to Gunvolt, Mega Man Zero, whatever, and while it plays similarly, it because they have to factor in all these stats and all this crap, I just don't think it felt as good as those other Inti Creates games. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not really a fan of that.
That and the mission structure I did not like very much.
Yeah.
It was kind of it got very repetitive after a while, and then like you had to go back to do certain objectives and certain missions in order to unlock, the final boss area, which was super
Yeah, and
strange.
it didn't help that like the stages are like an kind of like an open world in quotation marks where like you go back and forth. It's not just from left to right. So like you have to actually like
Metroidvania
look
style,
in the
yeah.
level, like for especially when it comes to like secret side quests and like finding items. It's like
It's called search action.
search
Get
action.
it right.
Yeah, at least the boss fights were like engaging and challenging.
So Noah, where do you want to put it?
I don't have like a pinpoint area. I was looking around the 140, 150 clusters.
Yeah, that's a good. I'm thinking like around Zombies Ate My Neighbors. That's 150.
I put it below Legacy of Kain at the very least. The 153.
153. You put it below Legacy of Kain?
Yeah. Because, like, the lot of the gauging stuff is just the fact that I'm playing with friends.
Yeah.
Like, the story wasn't there. Like, there was
Yeah.
nothing interesting about the story itself. The gameplay was pretty cool. But, like, again, the level up systems, like the RPG elements of it, it just wasn't engaging enough.
I actually do think that the action is pretty good.
No,
in this
yeah.
game.
For sure.
I mean, I enjoyed my time playing as the Empress, and I'm willing to, like, give some leeway because I haven't actually tried any of the other characters, and maybe they're also fun as well.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty hack and slashy.
Huh. If you're playing the Witch, oh man, there's so many fucking different versions of spells to fucking do.
If you're playing the Shinobi, you're doing like 3 moves.
Okay. But there's also to note that, like Muzzy mentioned, they improved this and added a lot of shit to it, so it probably made it a little better.
Maybe they made it worse. You never know.
That is a possibility, yes.
So personally, I'm thinking we should put it like right below Sacred Stones, because I think I think it has similar problems to Sacred Stones, where it's just like the base gameplay is just it is what Inti Creates is known for, just like Sacred Stones is what Fire Emblem's known for. But other than that, like it's just kind of basic. All the elements outside of it just are pretty meh.
I would put it below Sacred Stones. That's what I would put.
I mean, you can also take into the fact that Fire Emblem Sacred Stones is using the same engine, the same sprites, the same stuff from like the previous Game Boy Advance Fire Emblem too. So it's not like
Yeah, but it was still really good.
yeah, it was still good.
I mean, those sprites are amazing. And also, Dragon Mark for Death definitely has the Inti Creates style. Like you can definitely tell these are the same people who made Mega Man Zero. These are the same people who made Gunvolt. It just fits together. They just
The
look,
aesthetic, yeah.
yeah.
So we good putting it right above right below Sacred Stones?
All right,
Sure.
All right, sure.
let's
Let's
go.
stick it there.
Okay, so that's settled then. 155, Dragon Mark for Death. Right above it, 154 is Fire Emblem Sacred Stones, and right below it is 156, Crash Bandicoot. If you like this podcast, we want to thank you for listening. You can find us every single Monday on your favorite podcast service of choice. We're on SoundCloud, we're on iTunes, pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast. So just look out for that. Search Jump Up Supercast. And in that same feed, you can check out the Jump Up Supercast Game Club. That's where Brandon, Noah, and Ills get together every other Thursday. They play a game together. Last time they played John Wick Hex. That's the most recent episode. Be sure to check that out. Next upcoming episode is going to be Bust a Groove, so look forward to that one. Otherwise, you can check us out on social media. Best place to find us is Twitter, twitter.com/jumpupsupercast. That is where you will find out when we put up podcast episodes, when game clubs go up, when we stream on twitch.tv/jumpupsupercast, any general updates, maybe we're late, maybe whatever, fun stuff. We also have a Patreon. You want to check us out and support us. Even for $1, you get great stuff. Like you get to pick a game for the game club. We do a raffle where the patron picks get to pick the next one. Bust a Groove is actually a patron pick, as well as being able to listen in to the podcast live. So cool stuff. So check us out. Search Jump Up Supercast on Patreon. If you want to support us that much, we would greatly appreciate it. Other than that should cover it. Oh, we're also on Facebook and Instagram. Just, again, Jump Up Supercast. But otherwise, we thank you for listening. And Brandon, take us out.
All right. You know what? It's really hot. It's like July right now. And there's not a lot of video game news going on. So I know we're talking about a lot of small things, and it would be E3 right now. So the best advice I can give you, I know there's a lot of uncertainty, and there's a lot going on in the world, and video games really, at the grand scheme of things, are just a drop in the bucket of all the important things that are going on in the world right now. But, if you need to take your mind off of things, there's so many good games out there. Maybe try some indie games out, There's a lot of good indie games. If you ever need any recommendations, hit us up on Twitter. We all have played a lot of really good ones. Maybe you listen to the Game Club because there's also a lot of good games we played there. And just take your mind off some things. Play some video games. Stay cool. Turn the AC on. Get some water. Stay hydrated. Be nice to each other. And have yourself a good rest of your summer. You know what I'm saying? Peace out.